You've watched someone get lucky break after lucky break while you're out here working twice as hard and getting nothing. A psychologist spent 10 years studying exactly this, and what he found completely changes the conversation. Luck is not random, it's a set of specific behaviors, and they're learnable. The problem is, unlucky people are doing something very specific that makes them blind to every opportunity around them. Most will never figure out what it is. Today, you'll learn the 4 behaviors that separate people who consistently thrive from people who spend their whole lives feeling overlooked. Not motivational theory, 10 years of documented research tested on hundreds of real people with measurable results. Let's get into it. And stay for behavior 3. Most people are getting that one completely backwards. Let me tell you about an experiment. Richard Wiseman, a psychologist at the University of Hertfordshire, took 2 groups of people. One group called themselves lucky, the other called themselves unlucky. He gave everyone the same newspaper and one simple task: count the number of photographs inside. The unlucky group took about 2 minutes to finish. The lucky group finished in seconds. Why? Because on the second page of the newspaper, in large, bold print, Wiseman had placed a message: "Stop counting. There are 43 photographs." The lucky people saw it immediately. They stopped, laughed, moved on. The unlucky people, they walked right past it, heads down, counting, too focused on the task to notice the answer was staring them in the face. Same newspaper, same task, completely different results. This is the central finding of Wiseman's entire 10-year research project. Unlucky people are not victims of random misfortune. They are victims of a specific thinking pattern, tunnel vision, that makes them invisible to what is right in front of them. Lucky people carry a broader, more relaxed kind of attention. They stay open to what they were not expecting. And this difference plays out across every area of life: career, relationships, opportunity, timing. The bad news is that if you have spent years feeling unlucky, this pattern is probably running right now. The good news is that Wiseman proved it can be changed. In fact, he built a program to do exactly that. But before we get there, we need to understand the 4 behaviors, because the first one has nothing to do with what you do. It is about how you see. Behavior 1, lucky people notice more. Not because they have better instincts or more time, because they carry a different kind of attention. Wiseman found that unlucky people move through the world with what he called narrow attention. They are laser focused on one outcome: the promotion, the deal, the specific thing they came looking for, and everything else disappears. Lucky people move through the world with broad attention. They are not hunting for one thing. They are noticing everything. In study after study, lucky people reported more unexpected opportunities, conversations that became partnerships, meetings that changed their trajectory, encounters they were not looking for. This is not magic. It is attention. Wiseman tested this directly. He placed money on the ground in front of both groups as they walked by. Lucky people picked it up. Unlucky people walked right past it. Both groups had the same chance. One group saw it, the other did not. Here is where this gets personal. Think about the last time you were stuck on a problem. How narrow was your focus? Were you so locked onto one solution, one path, one person who could help, that anything outside that picture just did not register? That is not bad luck. That is tunnel vision. I remember a period in my own life when I was so fixated on one particular outcome that I became completely closed off to everything else around me. A friend reached out with an opportunity that, in hindsight, would have changed my direction. I barely registered it. I was too focused on the door I wanted to open to notice the window beside me was already unlocked. The way out is not to stop caring about what you want. It is to loosen your grip on how it has to arrive. But here's the thing about opportunity. You cannot just see it. You also have to be in the right place for it to find you. That is where behavior 2 comes in. Behavior 2. Lucky people build bigger, more diverse networks without trying to. Wiseman found something in his data that surprised him. Lucky people smiled twice as much as unlucky people. They made more eye contact. They talked to more strangers. Not because they were trying to network, because they were genuinely curious about other people. And every new connection is a new channel for opportunity. Think about it. Every right place, right time story has one thing in common: another person. A job lead from someone you met at a coffee shop. A collaboration born from a conversation you almost skipped. A client who came through a referral from someone you helped 2 years ago and never thought about again. Opportunity travels through people. Unlucky people tend to stick to familiar networks. Same friends, same conversations, same circles. Lucky people are not networking strategically. Their openness and warmth naturally draw more people toward them. And this is not an extrovert advantage. Wiseman found introverts in the lucky group too. The difference was genuine interest in others, not the volume of socializing. So here is a simple, honest question. When was the last time you had a real conversation with someone completely outside your usual world? Not a LinkedIn message, not a networking event, just genuine curiosity about someone different from you. That is where unexpected luck lives. If this is already shifting how you see things, subscribe so you do not miss the next video. We break down ideas like this one every week, and they are always free. Most people will hear behaviors 1 and 2 and think, okay, I need to be more open, meet more people. They will try it for a week, life gets busy, and they go back to the tunnel. Here is what that costs you. Wiseman estimated the cumulative effect of lucky behaviors compounding over years is the difference between a life that feels like it is working against you and a life where things seem to fall into place. It is not one big lucky break. It is 1,000 small moments you either noticed or did not. The people around you who seemed to thrive did not get luckier. They got better at seeing luck when it showed up. Okay, behavior 3. This is the one I said to pay attention to because almost everyone gets this completely backwards. Lucky people trust their gut and they act on it. Now, I know what you are thinking. Trust your gut is the most overused advice in personal development. Every motivational speech says it. Most people have completely tuned it out. But here is what Wiseman actually found. He did not just find that lucky people said they trusted their intuition. He found that they had specific habits that helped them hear it clearly. They meditated, they journaled, they slowed down before major decisions. They created conditions where their gut signal could actually be received instead of being drowned out by anxiety and overthinking and everyone else's opinion. And here is the part most people miss. Most people who say they trust their gut are actually just acting impulsively, or they use their gut as an excuse to avoid doing the hard thinking. Lucky people do both. They do the analysis. And then, at the decision point, they check in with what they actually feel, not what they are afraid of, not what others expect, what they genuinely feel, and then they act. That last part is everything. Most people feel the signal, and they wait. They second guess. They ask 5 more people for opinions. They delay until the window closes. Lucky people feel it, and they move. I had a moment years ago where I genuinely knew that I needed to stop waiting for the right time and start something I had been putting off for months. Every logical reason said to wait. My gut said to go. I waited. 6 months later, someone else had built exactly what I was thinking about. The window had closed while I stood in front of it debating. The lesson I took from that was not to become reckless. It was to stop treating hesitation like wisdom. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to just move. Wiseman's lucky group reported a significantly higher rate of acting on intuition quickly, and decisions made this way, even when they looked irrational from the outside, had better long-term outcomes. This is not recklessness. It is the combination of preparation, pattern recognition, and trust. Now, you have seen what lucky people notice, how they connect, how they decide. There is one behavior left, and it might be the most important because it determines whether you can hold on to your luck even when things fall apart. Behavior 4. Lucky people turn bad luck into good luck. I know how that sounds, but Wiseman measured it. He asked both groups to imagine this scenario. You are at a bank. Someone walks in with a gun and shoots you in the arm. How lucky are you? The unlucky group said, devastatingly unlucky. I got shot. The lucky group said, incredibly lucky. I am still alive. I have a story. I will recover. Same event, completely different interpretation. And here is the research finding that changes everything. This difference in interpretation is not just optimism, it is strategy. Lucky people do not pretend bad things did not happen. They are not toxic positive. They feel the hit. And then, almost immediately, they start looking for what it opened, the job you did not get that forced you to start your own business, the relationship that ended and gave you the space to figure out who you actually are, the failure that turned out to be the best teacher you ever had. Unlucky people stay at the closed door. They talk about the closed door. They build their identity around the closed door. Lucky people are already moving toward the next one. A subscriber once messaged me about losing a job she had worked toward for 3 years. She said it felt like everything she had built had collapsed overnight. 6 months later, she sent another message. That job loss had pushed her to finally start the thing she had been too comfortable to try. She said it was the most painful gift she had ever received. That is not a coincidence. That is behavior 4 in action. Wiseman found this was the single most trainable of the 4 behaviors. Even people with a lifetime of feeling unlucky improved fastest here. The reframe is not a feeling, it is a practice. After any setback, try writing down 3 things it might have protected you from or made possible. Not to minimize what happened, but to stay open to where it is pointing. Imagine looking back on your life 5 years from now, not as someone things happened to, as someone who looked at what happened and decided what it meant, who turned a closed door into a direction, who noticed the opportunity everyone else walked past. That is not a lucky person. That is a trained person. And that is exactly what we are talking about. Here's where Wiseman's research ends and where your story begins. At the end of his 10-year study, Wiseman did not just publish findings. He ran one more experiment. He took people who had spent their entire lives calling themselves unlucky, decades of feeling overlooked, passed by, invisible to opportunity, and he taught them the 4 behaviors: broader attention, open networks, gut trust, reframing setbacks. He did not change their circumstances. He did not give them money, connections, or an easier life. He just changed what they were doing. Within 1 month, almost every participant reported significant changes: more self-esteem, more opportunity, more moments where things seemed to go their way. Their luck had measurably improved, not because the world got kinder, because they got better at seeing it. The people in your life who seem lucky are probably not luckier than you. They have just been running these behaviors, consciously or not, for longer than you have. Every year you spend convinced that luck is something that happens to other people is another year standing in front of that newspaper, counting photographs, missing the message that is right there in front of you. So here is my question. Which of the 4 behaviors do you need most right now? Is it broader attention, slowing down and looking up from what you are so locked onto? Is it connection, one real conversation outside your usual world? Is it the gut, a decision you have been sitting on that you already know the answer to? Or is it the reframe, a setback you have been holding that might actually be pointing you somewhere better? You do not have to change everything at once. Pick one. Start today. Because luck is not a trait, it is a practice. Drop a comment and tell me which of the 4 behaviors you need most right now. I read every single one. So those are the 4 behaviors that separate people who thrive from people who spend their lives feeling overlooked: broader attention, open networks, gut trust, reframing setbacks. 10 years of research, hundreds of people studied. 4 things that changed measurably when they changed. If this video gave you something today, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more content like this, ideas grounded in real science, built to actually change how you see the world, hit subscribe.